Next, at the rat's nest, the disciples of the labor office who were assigned morning cleanup duty had nearly completed their tasks. After everyone finished their work, they returned to the assembly area to return their tools. Yu Ling stood there to take attendance, but upon counting, everyone had returned except for Zhuo Yifan. Elder Yuan furrowed his brow slightly, his face displaying clear concern. Yu Ling, with a hint of mischief in her eyes, said, "The sect leader has an old-fashioned temperament and scrutinizes everything. Many labor office disciples have met untimely ends due to displeasing him in the past. That newcomer was audacious enough to work directly in the sect leader's bedroom. It seems he may not return," she speculated aloud. As soon as she spoke, everyone involuntarily burst into laughter, finding amusement in another's potential misfortune. Only Elder Yuan shook his head reluctantly and sighed. Just then, a furious shout suddenly echoed from above. Everyone looked up to see an elderly man flying towards them. Before he even arrived, his enraged voice reached everyone's ears. "Which damned cur is the manager of the labor office? Get out here now." Yu Ling secretly rejoiced, her lips curling in satisfaction. It appears that guy really stirred up trouble with the sect leader. Most likely, Executive Son is here to give us a scolding as usual, then call us to handle the aftermath. Kuei Lang chuckled brightly in response. "Absolutely. It's just that because we had to kill that scoundrel, we'll get an earful." Yu Ling glanced at Kuei Lang and burst into laughter. It's a loss for us, but it's a word in his favor. Think about it, that arrogant guy met his end with nothing to show. How could someone like him make us, two-layer of radiant stage experts, get scolded? He must have been quite fortunate, Kuei Lang replied, nodding and laughing. The two exchanged glances and couldn't help but laugh joyously before heading straight to Executive Son. Elder Yuan stepped forward to greet him respectfully. "Executive Son, distinguished presence, please forgive any shortcomings from afar." Elder Yuan was the overseer of the labor office, but Executive Son raised his hand and began scolding loudly. "Shut up and step aside. What's been going on at the labor office, I still don't know." "You are just names on paper," Executive Son yelled angrily. "Call Yu Ling and Kuei Lang to meet me." With no other choice, Elder Yuan reluctantly lowered his head and stepped back. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang immediately approached with bowed heads. With a cold snort, Executive Son began loudly berating them. Who dared to send labor office disciples to clean the sect leader's grand hall this morning? Not only was he clumsy, he caused damage. When I checked, the entire hall was in shambles, looking like a pile of trash, he continued furiously. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling nodded continuously. However, they were already laughing inside, saying obediently, "Yes, yes. This was our mistake. Please forgive us, Executive Sunday. Please pacify the sect leader as well." Despite their apologies, the two secretly chuckled to themselves, pondering Executive Son's narration. It seemed like this incident had caused quite a mess. Could that troublemaker have survived? Yu Ling humbly apologized again and carefully probed, "Executive Son, shall we immediately handle the body cleanly and then thoroughly clean the grand hall again?" His eyebrows furrowed involuntarily. Executive Son glared coldly at them before speaking. "Handle the body? Handle what? Are you saying there's a body in the grand hall?" Both of them froze upon hearing this, utterly confused. After a moment of thought, Kuei Lang's spirits lifted slightly as he exclaimed, "Could it be that the sect leader delivered a blow that turned him to ashes?" With a cold laugh, Executive Son seemed to see through their thoughts and sneered, "You're overthinking. That guy left a long time ago. He's definitely not in the sect leader's grand hall anymore." Shocked, they exchanged astonished glances, wondering how someone who caused such trouble could escape so easily. It wasn't simple at all. "What? Escaped?" Kuei Lang blurted out in disbelief. Executive Son reassured them sternly, "Rest assured, he won't escape. I'll immediately send people to find him." Waving his hand in frustration, he shouted angrily, "Search for what? The sect leader let him go. The sect leader won't pursue his mistake." In their heads, it felt like something had struck them until they were dazed. Yu Ling and Kuei Lang glanced at each other dumbfounded in an instant. It was truly unbelievable. To commit such a serious offense, and yet the sect leader made no effort to pursue it. Was this the sect leader's way of handling things? A cold laugh escaped involuntarily. How could Executive Son not see through their intentions? He couldn't help but mock. I suppose it's no wonder you find it hard to believe. I've been with the sect leader for so many years, and even I find it hard to believe. The sect leader had made a decision like this. But this was the sect leader's decree. No one from the labor office could touch him. Furthermore, who dared to send that miserable fellow to clean the sect leader's hall today? Come forward, I want to kill him. Executive Son's words were spoken with intense killing intent, echoing harshly in everyone's ears. Kuei Lang and Yu Ling couldn't help but shiver as they glanced at each other. Cold sweat dripped from their foreheads. Suddenly, Kuei Lang pointed at a disciple from the labor office and shouted loudly, Zhang Fugue. This morning, I ordered you to clean the sect leader's hall. Why did you let Zhuo Yifan do it? Are you bullying others? Upon hearing this, Zhang Fugue couldn't help but tremble in fear. He hurriedly explained, No. Today, I was indeed tasked with cleaning Senior Shi's hall. Kuei Lang angrily shouted, Shut up. I ordered you to clean the sect leader's hall. Why did you let Zhuo Yifan do it? Don't you know only experienced former disciples should clean the sect leader's hall? He's just a newcomer, clumsy and inexperienced, isn't he bound to cause trouble? Daring to shirk responsibility and provoke the sect leader's anger. Such a crime cannot be forgiven. Go die. Before he could finish his words, Kuei Lang swiftly rushed towards Zhang Fugue and delivered a powerful punch. It hit with force, sending Zhang Fugue flying. Unable to hold back, he spat out fresh blood, and in an instant, his life faded away, becoming a scapegoat for Kuei Lang and Yu Ling. Even in death, he couldn't understand how he was peacefully going about his business one moment and then killed the next. Zhang Fugue's body fell heavily to the ground, blood still flowing incessantly from his mouth, his eyes wide open in disbelief. The labor office disciples nearby saw this and trembled with fear, stepping back involuntarily, fear evident on their faces. Kuei Lang approached Executive Son, bowing slightly, and said, Executive Son, I have dealt with the culprit. I hope you will consider this matter leniently. Glancing at him briefly, Executive Son, known for his cunning ways, couldn't possibly be unaware of the hidden meanings. However, he didn't want to delve further into it, merely letting out a cold laugh as a warning to Yu Ling and Kuei Lang. How do you think you can hide your actions from me? But I don't want to get too involved. Just don't drag me into it. I've been following the sect leader for decades. It's extremely rare to see him so angry. Even in such fury, he tries to suppress it, holding it in without letting it burst out. So when it comes to someone like Zhuo Yifan, though he's just a labor office disciple, you need to calculate carefully. He's not someone to underestimate. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably. They looked at each other, filled with fear. Their faces turned pale in an instant. Who is this Zhuo Yifan? Even the sect leader dares not casually confront him. Though he says it's a minor matter, given the sect leader's temperament, it's significant. Thinking this, their hearts grew heavier. Seeing their terrified expressions, Executive Son raised his hand gently and spoke calmly, All right, if the guilty party has been punished, I'll report back. You two handle this yourselves. With that, Executive Son turned and walked away. The two hurriedly bowed as he departed, whispering, Please go ahead, Executive Sunday. Once Executive Son was out of sight, they straightened up. They exchanged looks of intense fear. At that moment, Elder Yuan rushed up to them, chuckling softly. I told you earlier, Zhuo Yifan is not someone to take lightly. But you didn't listen. Before Elder Yuan could finish his sentence, Kuei Lang shouted loudly, Get lost.